My name's Davida Shinsky, and I'm the host of Live Without Limits Dreams Come True with the Right Mindset. And today we're going to be talking about do we cause our emotions? An interesting connection between our organs and how we feel. Many people don't know this, but there's an interesting connection between our emotions and our body organs. With modern psychology and biomedicine, we understand how our brains affect our bodies, connecting to our organs and releasing hormones that change our physical state. We know that when we're faced with an opponent or something that is aggressive towards us, our brain sends a distress signal to the adrenal glands on top of the kidneys that there is danger, triggering the release of the fight or flight hormone adrenaline. And our reaction then is to fight or flee, thanks to the response of our organs to a perceived threat. But how does that explain what emotion we are having at the same time? Naturally, we're probably feeling afraid or worried on some level, but we may not immediately connect issues with our kidneys to a feeling of fear or worry. In traditional Chinese medicine or TCM, it is clear how our emotions are associated with our organs. In traditional Chinese medicine, your emotions are linked to your organs. Emotions are natural and healthy. They are not good or bad. However, they can be balanced, repressed, or excessive. In traditional Chinese medicine, when an emotion is stuffed down as well as even experienced repeatedly or inappropriately out of context, it can show in the body as physical symptoms associated with its paired internal organ, said Lauren Dyer, DAC. Now, what I would also like to say is think about it. If at the bottom of your feet, or if you're getting massages on your feet, many people who give massages can tell you which of your organs are having problems just by working on the feet because they know which parts are related to which parts of the body. And we might think that this is woo-woo science out there, but it has been proven over the years. In this way, they look at bodily responses and emotions differently. And longer term, how we feel psychologically can affect on us physiologically. If we feel angry too often or at high levels, we may be causing damage to our liver. According to a study on understanding mind body interaction from the perspective of East Asian medicine, published in 2017, human emotions manifest through physiological responses. In trying to understand the link between our minds and body from the Eastern medicine perspective, this study found that there were specific patterns between the emotions and people felt and the corresponding organ system. Feelings of anger showed a response in the liver. Feelings of happiness showed up in the heart. Sadness in the heart and lungs. Fear in the kidneys and heart. In essence, There is a close relationship between your feelings and body responses. Now, even in psychology, you find a similar type of theory about the mind, body, and spirit and how they all work together. So, when you understand one part of it, you can truly understand the other part of it. And if you go into ancient things when they talked about herbs as healing factors and all of those things, well, that's where what we're talking about. And if you remember, even before medicine or modern medicine, they knew how to help people. In in the early days, if you looked at the Native Americans who were the Indians on the plains and how they survived, and even though they really had no formal education, through years of passing on from one generation to the other, they learned how to heal, how to take care of things, and the mind and the body and the spirit. So it's nothing new. It's just reprocessing and rebranding information that's been out there for years. And if you understand how it all works together, it can truly help you understand. So what I want to do is kind of review this. Feelings of anger showed a response in the liver. Feelings of happiness showed up in the heart. Sadness in the heart and lungs. Fear in the kidneys and heart. In essence, there is a close relationship between your feelings and your body responses. The six primary emotions. Humans have up to 27 different emotions, but psychologist Dr. Paul Ekman, famous for his study and research into nonverbal behavior, identified only six as basic, universal emotions, and these have since been expanded and updated. Happiness, anger, sadness, fear, surprise, and disgust. In traditional Chinese medicine, there are considered to be five emotions: anger, fear, joy, sadness, and worry. In traditional Chinese medicine, it is believed that emotional imbalances can act as both symptoms and causes for physical issues. Additionally, mental health conditions are linked to specific physical ailments and key organs, said very well mind. Each emotion is associated with a corresponding body organ. For instance, when you are happy, the pituitary gland in your brain naturally releases endorphins and dopamine, which are hormones associated with excitement, satisfaction, and pleasure. When the nervous when you are nervous or fearful, the adrenal glands in your kidneys release cortisol and adrenaline to increase your focus and aid your stress response. In both TCM and Western medicine, having an imbalance in any of our organs can lead to health issues. Eight organs connected to our emotions. And I think you really need to listen to this because it is so important to understand just how health and wellness, when they talk about practicing yoga and when they talked about the importance of exercise, this talks about how those emotions that you released affect specific parts of the body. For instance, back in the 1950s, the 60s, and the 70s, People thought that just by walking long distances they were exercising. But then in the 80s, you started seeing many of what's known as the health clubs start coming up, where you can go in and work out, and not just with free weights, but with static weights. And and when you strengthen those muscles and you build on it, you're really helping the rest of your body. So the heart is the principal organ of the body, and the primary emotion associated with it is joy and excitement. However, excessive joy is over excitement, can be dangerous, and it can lead to an imbalance, causing insomnia, nightmares, restlessness, mania, palpitations, and excess risk taking. Being the center of all emotions, other feelings such as grief, anger, and fear also filter through the heart. Now, here's something else to think about. When we talk about colors and we talk about specific parts of the body, they also have an effect. Two, liver. Now, the liver's primary functions are to produce bile, break down the nutrients, excrete hormones, and store glycogen. Too much bile causes anger, which lends to resentment, frustration, jealousy, irritability, rage, and hatred. Symptoms of a liver imbalance include dizziness, blurry vision, headache, stiff neck, hypertension, and painful menstrual cramps. Spleen. The emotion associated with the spleen is worry and anxiety. Scientifically, the spleen stores blood and produces white blood cells for enhanced immunity. In alternative medicine, its work is to control your physical energy. When the spleen is overwhelmed, you may feel pensive, depressed, or exhausted. Some people lose their appetite, experience long menstrual periods, and struggle with digestion issues. Kidneys. Fear is directly associated with the adrenal gland found in your kidneys. The kidneys are responsible for flushing out toxins from the body. However, in case of extreme fear, this function may become impaired. Your kidneys may lose control, and you may exhibit symptoms such as hot flashes, night sweats, frequent urination, hearing loss, and even infertility. Lungs. After the heart, the lungs are second in line as the body's principal organs. They are responsible for respiration, regulating sweat glands, and distributing vital energy throughout the body. Like the heart, the lungs are vulnerable to various emotional states, but sadness and grief are associated with these organs. Too much grief and sadness can affect the lungs and lead to shortness of breath, chest tightness, asthma, eczema, and frequent crying. Stomach. The emotions associated with the stomach are gut includes nervousness, fear, and sometimes rage. This explains why people have butterflies in their bellies before a public speaking or an nervous situations. Excess negative emotions in the gut can lead to choleric conditions such as ulcers, gastritis, inflammatory bowel disease, diarrhea, and gastroesophageal reflux disease, the small intestines. According to traditional Chinese medicine, the small intestine is one of the five major yang organs. It's associated with blood circulation and hormonal balance throughout the body. The emotions linked to the small intestines are joy, agitation, and feeling lost or vulnerable. You may find a balance between your happiness and anxiety to avoid negative feelings. Large intestine. The large intestine is another major yang organ, and its primary role is to dispel waste from the body through the rectum. It also absorbs vitamins, water, and electrolytes from indigestible food. The emotions connected to the large intestine are similar to the lungs, including sadness and grief, or imbalance in your feelings associated with the large intestine can cause hemorrhoids, irritable bowel syndrome, and gastrointestinal disease. Bottom line, as you already know by now, your emotions and bodily organs are connected and almost synonymous. Failure to control your feelings can be overwhelming to the body and make you sick. On the other hand, learning to control your emotions depends on how you care for your body and overall health. Understanding the difference associated between your organs and emotions lets you know what to work on to get desirable results and avert av- avoidable health concerns. And that's where mental health really has an important factor in mindset. One of the things that I'm doing is I have a 5-day challenge that I'm doing that's called Change Your Thoughts, Transform Your Life. Because your thought processes can be negative or be positive. And not only are you putting out that energy into the universe, but you're also internalizing that energy. So by understanding where your subconscious thoughts affect your behavior is what we're going to talk about on day one. On day two, we talk about toxic relationships because if you are in a toxic relationship, you're either being physically abused, emotionally abused, and those things can really affect your mental health. And when it affects your mental health, it affects the organs and it affects how you're feeling when you feel anger towards that person. That's affecting your health. The third day, we talk about the workplace culture simply because how someone talks to you. We all have natural behavioral patterns and we all have a way of talking that can be that can be supportive at each different level, and understanding that helps you to communicate more effectively. Then we talk about on the fourth day how to change those negative thoughts into positive thoughts and how to find what triggers are out there that cause the negative thoughts. On the last day, we talk about where do you go from here. If you would like to take it, I want you to go to the domain name changeyourthoughtschallenge.com /join the challenge. And I definitely want to look forward to seeing you there.